Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories, brought to you by KringlesChristmas.com, home of Comet's Choice premium reindeer food.
Reindeer tested.
Santa approved.
There's something about a good Christmas story.
We're headed to the snowy town of Hollymere for a story that reminds us about the real treasures of Christmas.
That just draws you in.
You know,
It takes you back to that feeling of wonder and excitement you had as a child.
the ones that aren't found under the tree, but in the spirit of the season itself.
I'm ready to be transported to Hollymere.
So get cozy, maybe grab some hot cocoa, and let's dive into the Christmas treasure hunt.
Me too.
Let's begin. Chapter 1. An Unexpected Invitation.
Begin.
Snow had blanketed the picturesque town of Hollymere overnight, transforming it into a winter wonderland.
Okay.
Twinkling fairy lights strung across shop windows glowed like tiny stars, and wreaths with bright red bows adorned every door. Carolers stood on cobblestone corners, their voices rising in cheerful harmony, while children laughed and played in the freshly fallen snow.
Wow.
Hollymere was the kind of place that seemed to belong on a Christmas card.
You can practically hear the sleigh bells.
12-year-old Jonah Reese stared out the frosted kitchen window, his chin resting on his hand.
So idyllic.
He loved Christmas, or at least he used to.
Yeah.
This year, something felt different.
I wonder why.
Maybe it was because his older brother Ryan was away at college, or maybe it was because their dad was stuck at work most evenings.
The holidays can be tough when family is far away.
The house just didn't feel as full or festive as it used to.
That makes sense.
Jonah turned back to the table where a half-written thank you note sat in front of them.
I can relate to that feeling.
It was meant for his Aunt Julie, who had sent him a new winter coat in the mail last week.
Practical gifts.
It's warm and useful, he muttered to himself, trying to think of something more enthusiastic to write.
Not always the most exciting, though.
He sighed, tapping his pen on the table.
Writer's block, maybe?
Across from him, his best friend Avery Green was perched on a stool, her long curly hair tied up in a messy bun.
I love Avery already.
She had her sketchbook open, her pencil darting across the page as she worked on her latest drawing.
A budding artist, perhaps.
The author really sets the scene beautifully, wouldn't you say?
She seems like a free spirit.
It's interesting to see how, even in this idyllic Christmas setting, Jonah is feeling disconnected from the holiday cheer.
Yes, definitely.
I wonder, have you ever felt that way?
It's interesting to see that contrast.
Like the magic of the season was just out of reach?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see what happens next.
I know.
Done yet? Avery asked without looking up.
It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of it all and lose sight of what truly matters.
Almost Jonah lied.
A little white lie.
He tossed his pen aside and leaned back in his chair.
Maybe he's just not feeling the holiday spirit this year.
Why does Christmas feel so boring this year? Same thing every year Lights presents the festival.
A classic case of holiday boredom.
Nothing ever happens.
I've been there.
Avery raised an eyebrow.
It's easy to fall into a rut.
Boring. It's Christmas. How can Christmas be boring?
Exactly.
Jonah shrugged.
Maybe he needs a little adventure to shake things up.
I don't know. It just feels like it's missing something.
I think we all need a little bit of that childlike wonder sometimes.
I don't know.
What could it be?
An adventure or something.
Adventure. Now we're talking.
An adventure, Avery asked with a smirk.
I have a feeling Avery is about to provide that.
You sound like a character in one of those old books my grandpa reads.
I love her spirit.
Maybe you should go hunting for treasure or chasing dragons.
A treasure hunt sounds right up my alley.
I'm serious, Jonah said.
She's got that spark. Wouldn't it be cool if something unexpected happened for once?
I wonder if Jonah's going to get his wish.
Something exciting. Before Avery could answer, the doorbell rang, cutting through the cozy quiet of the house.
Ooh,
Jonah frowned.
a visitor.
They weren't expecting anyone.
Intriguing.
He got up and walked to the door, Avery close behind him.
I wonder who it could be. When he opened it, he was greeted by a rush of cold air and a delivery man holding a small package.
A package. Talk about perfect timing.
Delivery for Jonah Reese, the man said, handing him the box.
This sounds promising.
Thanks, Jonah said, still puzzled.
I'd be puzzled too.
He stared at the package as the man walked back to his truck.
It's like the universe heard Jonah's wish for adventure.
It was wrapped in shiny gold paper and tied with a crimson ribbon.
How festive.
His name was written on it in elegant cursive script, but there was no return address or indication of who had sent it.
Mysterious.
Who's it from? Avery asked, peering over his shoulder.
A Christmas mystery in the making.
Jonah shook his head.
This is getting good.
No idea. Wasn't expecting anything.
I can't wait to find out what's inside.
Open it, Avery said, her excitement bubbling over.
I agree. Let's open it up in part 2 of our deep dive.
It wouldn't be a Christmas story without a little magic, right?
Absolutely not.
I think we need to find out what's inside that package.
The anticipation is killing me.
What do you say we open it up in part 2 of our deep dive?
Sounds like a plan. I'm ready for more.
Stay tuned, folks.
I can't wait.
The mystery is about to unfold.
That package has me on the edge of my seat.
Absolutely.
It's like the start of a classic Christmas mystery.
I can't wait to see what's inside.
Wouldn't you agree?
Let's get back to the story.
Okay.
Jonah carried the package to the kitchen table and set it down carefully. Avery leaned in close as he tugged at the ribbon and peeled back the wrapped paper.
So exciting.
Inside was a small wooden box, its surface polished to a smooth shine.
Ooh.
Jonah lifted the lid, revealing an envelope and a strange brass key nestled inside.
A key.
The key was shaped like a Christmas tree, with intricate patterns carved into the metal.
Fancy.
Avery let out a low whistle.
Fancy. What's in the envelope? What could it be?
Jonah unfolded the thick parchment paper, which had a decorative border of holly leaves and berries.
Oh, how elegant.
The handwriting was the same elegant cursive as the name on the package.
Someone went to a lot of trouble.
He cleared his throat and read aloud. To Jonah Rees and companions. The season of joy holds a mystery untold.
Ooh, this good.
Follow the clues, brave and bold.
I love it.
Begin at the heart, where the tree stands tall.
Classic treasure hunt vibes.
And listen well to the Christmas call.
So festive.
Trust in your courage, let nothing deter.
A little encouragement never hurts.
A gift for Hollymere awaits the finder.
A gift for the whole town.
It was signed. The Keeper.
The Keeper.
Oh.
How intriguing. Wow. A mysterious key, a riddle, and a signed note from the Keeper.
It's like something out of a classic adventure story.
It's interesting how the author uses these elements to create a sense of intrigue and excitement.
I'm hooked already.
Me too.
It's like we're right there with Jonah and Avery, discovering the mystery along with them.
You really feel like you're part of the adventure.
Avery's eyes widened and her face lit up with excitement.
A mystery, Jonah. This is amazing.
Jonah frowned.
Oh, come on, Jonah. Don't be a Scrooge.
Probably just a prank. Someone's messing with me.
That's classic Jonah. Always the voice of reason trying to ground himself in logic. But deep down, I think even he's starting to get swept up in the adventure.
You can sense his skepticism starting to waver, especially with Avery's contagious enthusiasm.
It's hard to resist that kind of excitement.
Let's see what happens next.
I'm ready.
Are you kidding?
Oh, here we go.
Look at this key.
Yeah, Jonah.
Look at this fancy writing.
This is the real deal.
This isn't a prank, it's a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Avery said, her voice rising with excitement.
Avery's not letting this go.
She grabbed the key and turned it over in her hands. And it's addressed to you. Why would someone go to all this trouble if it wasn't real? Jonah looked at the parchment again.
She makes a good point.
He had to admit it didn't feel like a joke. The quality of the paper, the craftsmanship of the key, it all seemed too elaborate to be a simple prank.
Right.
Still, part of him was hesitant.
Understandable.
What if it's some weird scam? He asked. Scam.
It's a scam.
Jonah, it's Christmas. No one's scamming you with a treasure hunt.
Exactly. It's Christmas.
This is the most exciting thing that's happened all year.
That's the spirit.
The note says, to start where the tree stands tall. That's got to mean the town square.
The town square, the heart of Hollymere.
I love how Avery doesn't even entertain the idea of a scam.
She's all in.
She's fully embracing the magic of the situation, and her belief is starting to rub off on Jonah.
It's contagious.
It's amazing how a little bit of faith and a sense of adventure can transform our perspective, isn't it?
Absolutely. It reminds me of how sometimes all it takes is a little nudge, a spark of inspiration to reawaken our sense of wonder.
It's like that saying, all it takes is a little spark to ignite a fire. In this case, it's the spark of adventure that's igniting Jonah's Christmas spirit.
And just in time for Christmas?
Let's continue.
Okay.
The frosty air nipped at Jonah and Avery's faces as they hurried toward the towering Christmas tree in the center of Hollymere's town square.
I can practically feel the chill in the air.
The tree stood like a sentinel over the bustling festivities, its branches heavy with twinkling lights, golden baubles, and strands of silver tinsel that shimmered in the soft glow of lanterns hanging from surrounding lampposts.
Beautiful imagery.
Hollymere's residents bustled about preparing for the upcoming Christmas festival.
Everyone's getting ready for the big day.
Volunteers arranged tables piled high with gift baskets for the holiday. Ribald children zipped between their parents with candy canes in hand, and the scent of roasted chestnuts wafted from a nearby stall.
I love love those little details.
Jonah stooped his hands into his coat pockets, clutching the strange brass key he'd found earlier that evening.
He's not letting go of that key.
He kept glancing over at Avery, who was practically bouncing with excitement beside him.
I can picture her skipping along.
Her cheeks were flush pink from the cold, but her grin was brighter than the star atop the massive tree.
She's radiant with Christmas cheer.
The author does such a great job of immersing us in the sights and sounds of Hollymere.
It's so vivid.
It feels so warm and inviting, despite the cold winter air. I can almost smell the roasted chestnuts.
Me too. And the sound of carols in the distance?
I know, it's so vivid. You can really picture yourself right there in the town square, surrounded by the festive atmosphere.
It makes you wonder if there really is a Hollymere out there somewhere.
Maybe there is.
A place where the magic of Christmas is alive and well.
Maybe it's closer than we think.
I'd like to think so.
So what's the plan? Jonah asked, his voice skeptical. We're supposed to just look under the tree for another clue. Obviously, Avery said, as if it were the simplest thing in the world.
Avery's got this.
The note said to start where the tree stands tall. This is the biggest tree in town, so there's got to be something here. Jonah glanced around at the bustling square.
But will they find it?
What if someone already found it?
Good question.
Or what if it's just a prank?
Don't lose faith, Jonah.
We might be wasting our time.
Mm-hmm.
Avery rolled her eyes. You're such a pessimist, Jonah. Have a little Christmas spirit.
That's right, Jonah, lighten up.
What if this really is something amazing?
What if it is?
And a treasure hunt doesn't just happen every day. Jonah sighed, but couldn't help feeling a flicker of curiosity. He had to admit the elaborate invitation and mysterious key were intriguing.
The intrigue is building.
And if Avery was excited, he supposed he could humor her for now.
It's that flicker of curiosity that gets me every time.
It's what makes us believe in Santa Claus, in the magic of Christmas, in the possibility of something extraordinary.
That little voice inside that says, what if?
Exactly. It's what makes us keep searching, keep hoping, keep believing, even when faced with doubt. Let's see what they find at the base of the tree.
I'm ready for the next clue.
They reached the base of the Christmas tree where families were snapping photos and children were tossing snowballs.
Sounds like a typical Christmas scene.
Jonah crouched down, scanning the area for anything unusual.
Careful, Jonah, don't miss it.
He noticed a small brass plaque affixed to the trunk, its edges glinting in the light of the decorations. The inscription was almost hidden beneath a thick garland.
Hidden in plain sight.
But Jonah brushed it aside to read the words engraved on the plaque. In the light of the season, secrets are shared.
Another riddle.
Look to the starry places if you dare. Jonah straightened up his brow, furrowing.
What could it mean?
Starry places. What's that supposed to mean? Avery tilted her head, a thoughtful expression crossing her face.
Avery's thinking hard.
It's a riddle, she said, as if it were obvious. We're supposed to figure out where to go next.
Another riddle, and this one's even more cryptic. It requires thinking outside the box, using your imagination to decipher its meaning. What do you think, listener? Do you have any ideas where starry places could lead Jonah and Avery?
I'm not sure, but I have a feeling it's somewhere special, somewhere connected to the heart of Hollymere. Let's find out together in part 3 of our deep dive, Starry Places. It's such an evocative phrase, isn't it? It conjures up images of wonder and mystery. It makes you want to look up at the night sky and search for answers.
It certainly does.
What do you think, listener? Where do you think this riddle will lead Jonah and Avery?
Well, based on the clues so far, I'd say somewhere connected to the heavens, to the stars themselves.
That's a great point.
Perhaps somewhere that allows you to observe the celestial wonders above.
Let's find out if our guess is correct.
Okay.
Great, Jonah muttered, because riddles are my favorite.
Oh, come on, Jonah.
Avery said, nudging him playfully. Think about it. Starry places. What in Hollymere has anything to do with stars? Jonah thought for a moment, then his eyes widened.
He's got it.
The observatory, he said.
The observatory, of course.
Avery grinned. Exactly. The observatory on Stargazer Hill. Jonah groaned. The observatory was on the far edge of town, perched atop a hill that seemed twice as steep in the middle of winter.
Uh-oh.
You want to climb that hill? It's freezing out here.
Oh, Jonah, you got to admire Avery's determination. It's like nothing can dampen her Christmas spirit, not even a steep hill on a freezing night. It reminds me of how children approach challenges with such unbridled enthusiasm.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
Have you ever felt that kind of excitement, listener, that drive to overcome any obstacle to reach your goal?
That unwavering belief in the magic of the moment. Okay, let's see if they brave the cold and head up that hill.
Let's see.
It's not that far, Avery said, grabbing his arm. And you're forgetting one important thing. This is a treasure hunt. You can't just quit because you don't want to walk. Fine, Jonah said reluctantly. But if this turns out to be a wild goose chase, you're buying me hot chocolate. Deal, Avery said, already leading away. Now come on, adventure awaits. The walk to the observatory was colder than Jonah had anticipated. The snow crunched under their boots as they trudged up Stargazer Hill, their breaths forming white clouds in the icy air. The path wound through a wooded area that was eerily quiet, the only sound coming from the rustling of bare branches overhead.
The setting really shifts here, wouldn't you say? We go from the bustling town square to this quiet, almost eerie path up the hill. It's like we're entering a different world, a world where anything is possible.
It's almost as if the landscape itself is mirroring Jonah's inner journey.
Exactly.
He's moving away from the familiar, from the routine, and into the unknown.
Leaving his comfort zone?
Let's see what he discovers at the top of that hill.
I'm intrigued.
Why does this hill always feel 10 times taller in winter? Jonah grumbled, pulling his scarf tighter around his neck.
I feel you, Jonah.
You're such a baby. Avery teased, her voice muffled by her own scarf. Just think about the treasure waiting at the end of all this. Besides, you need the exercise. Jonah shot her a look, but didn't bother replying. He was too busy focusing on not slipping on the icy trail.
Safety first.
Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the trees thinned out and the observatory came into view. The Hollymere Observatory was a modest building with a domed roof that gleamed under the moonlight.
I can picture it perfectly.
Strings of twinkling Christmas lights had been draped across its exterior, and a large wreath hung on the front door. Though the observatory was mostly used for stargazing events during the holidays, it had been quiet in recent years.
You know what strikes me about the observatory? It's a place of discovery, a place where you can literally expand your horizons by gazing at the stars. It's almost symbolic of Jonah's own journey. He's on the verge of discovering something new about himself, something that will broaden his perspective and reawaken his sense of wonder.
That's a beautiful observation. It makes you appreciate the author's choice of setting, doesn't it?
It really does.
Each location in this treasure hunt seems to hold a deeper meaning, a connection to Jonah's inner transformation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's step inside the observatory with Jonah and Avery.
Let's go.
Jonah pushed open the heavy wooden door and they stepped inside. The interior was dimly lit with only a few small lamps casting a warm glow over the space. A central telescope stood like a sentinel in the middle of the room, its lens pointed skyward. Jonah and Avery paused, their breaths echoing faintly in the stillness.
It sounds so peaceful.
So now what? Jonah asked. Avery scanned the room, her eyes darting over the shelves of star charts and astronomy books.
Searching for a clue.
Then she spotted something unusual, a red envelope taped to the base of the telescope. She grabbed Jonah's arm and pointed there. That has to be a date. Jonah followed her to the telescope where she carefully peeled the envelope away. It was identical to the note they'd found earlier, complete with a holly leaf border and elegant handwriting. Avery opened it and read aloud. The next step lies where stories are told.
Stories.
Where whispers of wonder warm the cold.
Sounds like the library.
Look past the covers beyond the page, for secrets hidden at every stage.
Another riddle. This treasure hunt is certainly full of surprises, and this one seems to be pointing them towards a place of knowledge and imagination. Any guesses, listener, as to where this next clue might lead?
I think it's pretty clear, don't you, where stories are told? It's got to be the library.
The library it is.
Let's see if Jonah and Avery figure it out.
Okay.
The library, Jonah said instantly. Of course. Avery agreed. Where else would stories be told? Jonah nodded, feeling a surge of excitement despite himself. The library is open late for the holiday season. We can head there now. Avery tucked the note into her coat pocket and grinned. This is getting better and better. Let's go.
I love how even though Jonah started out as a bit of a skeptic, he's now fully engaged in the treasure hunt. It's like the mystery has awakened something within him, a sense of childlike curiosity and excitement.
It's a reminder that sometimes all it takes is a little adventure to rediscover the magic in the everyday. Okay, let's follow Jonah and Avery to the library, but first a quick word from our sponsor. Stay tuned for Chapter 3 and more holiday adventures.
I can't wait.
Jonah and Avery walked briskly through the snow-covered streets of Hollymere, their excitement growing with every step. The brass key Jonah carried jingled faintly in his pocket, a constant reminder of the mystery that had begun unfolding just hours earlier. The words for the latest clue echoed in his mind. Look past the covers beyond the page for secrets hidden at every stage. The library. It had to be.
No doubt about it.
Hollymere's library was one of the town's oldest buildings, a grand stone structure with arched windows and a towering clock above its entrance. The thought of searching for a clue among its maze-like shelves both thrilled and daunted Jonah.
It's interesting how the library is described almost like a character itself, with its maze-like shelves and hidden secrets. It adds to the sense of mystery and adventure, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's like the library is a guardian of knowledge, and Jonah and Avery are on a quest to unlock its hidden treasures.
A fitting setting for sure.
Do you think we'll find another key? Avery asked, breaking the silence as they approached the library. Maybe, Jonah replied, shrugging. Or another weird riddle.
Yeah.
Whoever planned this seems to love riddles good, Avery said brightly. That makes it more fun.
She's got the right attitude.
Jonah couldn't argue with that. As much as he had resisted, at first the treasure hunt had sparked something inside him, a sense of wonder he hadn't felt in a long time. Christmas wasn't supposed to be boring after all, and this unexpected adventure had brought a new kind of magic to the season.
It's rekindled his Christmas spirit.
The library doors creaked slightly as they pushed them open, stepping into the warmth of the building. The familiar scent of books and pine needles greeted them, mingling with the faint hum of holiday music playing from a nearby speaker.
Ah, the smell of books and Christmas.
A Christmas tree stood in the lobby, its ornaments reflecting the soft glow of the reading lamps. Mrs. Hazel, the librarian, sat behind the front desk, her glasses perched on her nose as she flipped through a thick book.
Ah, Mrs. Hazelwood, the librarian. She seems like a character straight out of a classic Christmas tale. Don't you think? Wise, kindly, and perhaps a keeper of secrets herself.
I agree. She's like the gatekeeper to a world of knowledge and imagination.
Exact.
I wonder if she knows about the treasure hunt and if she's willing to help Jonah and Avery on their quest.
That's a great question.
Let's see how she reacts to their arrival.
Okay.
She looked up and smiled as Jonah and Avery entered. Good evening, you two. Looking for some holiday stories.
She seems friendly enough.
Something like that, Jonah said, quickly avoiding her curious gaze.
He's being a bit evasive.
He didn't want to explain the treasure hunt just yet. Instead, he gestured to the children's section. We'll just be over there. Mrs. Hazelwood nodded, returning to her book.
Maybe she suspects something.
Jonah and Avery exchanged a glance before hurrying toward the shelves.
Off they go.
It seems like they're not quite ready to reveal their secret mission to Mrs. Hazelwood, but I have a feeling she might be watching them, perhaps, with a knowing smile. Let's follow them into the children's section.
Lead the way.
The children's section was decorated for the season, with garlands draped across the tops of the bookshelves and tiny snowflake ornaments hanging from strings. In the corner, a cozy reading nook was piled high with festive cushions.
Sounds cozy.
Avery scanned the shelves, her sharp eyes darting from one title to the next. Let's split up, she said. If there's a clue here, it's probably hidden somewhere specific. Jonah nodded, moving to the shelf labeled Holiday Favorites. He ran his fingers along the spines of the books, looking for anything unusual.
The search is on.
What exactly are we looking for? He asked over his shoulder. I don't know. Avery admitted. Maybe another note, or a key, or... Wait. Her voice rose with excitement, and Jonah turned to see her pointing to a small box nestled between two books.
They found some...
It was wooden, with a brass lock shaped like a snowflake. This has to be it,
he said. I bet it is.
Jonah hurried over, pulling the brass key from his pocket. He slid it into the lock, and with a satisfying click, the box opened. Inside was another folded piece of parchment, along with a tiny glass ornament shaped like a sleigh.
Ooh, a sleigh ornament.
Jonah unfolded the parchment and read aloud. The finest step draws you near to the place where joy brings cheer.
I wonder where that could be.
A merry tune, a festive glow. Find the stage and watch the show.
Find the stage and watch the show. That sounds like a pretty clear clue, don't you think?
Right.
It seems like the treasure hunt is leading Jonah and Avery to a place of entertainment, a place where the Christmas spirit is on full display.
Absolutely. There's only one place in Hollymere that fits that description. The town theater.
The theater, of course.
Let's see if they reach the same conclusion. The stage, Avery said instantly. It must mean the town theater. The Christmas play, Jonah added. They're doing final rehearsals for it tonight. The Hollymere Theater was one of the town's most beloved landmarks, known for its elaborate holiday productions. Jonah's mom had taken him to the Christmas play every year since he was little, and he could still remember the way the stage came alive with music and lights. Avery tucked the ornament into her coat pocket and grinned. Come on, let's go.
They're on their way.
The treasure's got to be there. Jonah hesitated, glancing back at the shelves. Do you think we're the only ones doing this? What if someone else gets there first? Then we'll just have to hurry, Avery said, already heading toward the door.
It's a race against time.
Jonah and Avery hurried out of the library and into the crisp winter air. The street lamps cast a warm glow on the snow-covered sidewalks, and the sound of carols drifted from a nearby church. As they approached the theater, Jonah could hear the faint strains of music coming from inside. A thrill of anticipation shot through him. He'd always loved the Christmas play, and the thought of finding a hidden treasure within its walls made it even more exciting.
I can feel the excitement building.
They slipped through the theater doors and into the dimly lit lobby. The air was thick with the scent of popcorn and anticipation. A few people milled about, chatting excitedly, while others waited patiently in line for tickets. Jonah and Avery scanned the lobby, their eyes searching for any sign of the treasure or another clue. "Now what?" Jonah whispered. "I don't see anything."
They've hit a snag?
Avery bit her lip thoughtfully. "The note said to find the stage and watch the show. Maybe the clue is hidden somewhere on the stage." "But how are we supposed to get backstage?" Jonah asked. "The play's about to start." Avery's eyes twinkled with mischief. "We just have to sneak in," she whispered. "Come on, follow me."
Oh, Avery, you little sneak.
Avery led Jonah through a maze of hallways past dressing rooms and prop tables until he reached a heavy velvet curtain. She peeked through a small opening and whispered, "The stage is clear. Come on, let's go." They slipped through the curtain and onto the stage.
They did it.
The stage was a wonderland of twinkling lights, colorful backdrops, and elaborate props. A large Christmas tree stood in the center, its branches adorned with shimmering ornaments. Jonah and Avery moved cautiously among the scenery, their eyes scanning every nook and cranny for the final clue. Avery exclaimed, pointing to a small golden bell hanging from one of the tree's branches. It was intricately crafted with a delicate handle and a tiny inscription that read, "Keeper of the Hollymere Bell." "It has to be it," Jonah said, his voice hushed with awe. "The treasure." He reached out, gently touched the bell.
The keeper of the Hollymere Bell. What a beautiful name for a treasure.
"It's beautiful," Avery whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Jonah couldn't help but agree. The bell seemed to radiate a warmth and magic that filled him with a sense of peace. He had never felt so connected to Christmas before. As he stood there admiring the bell, he noticed something strange. The inscription, "Keeper of the Hollymere Bell," seemed to shimmer slightly, as if it were beckoning him to touch it. He hesitated for a moment, then gently ran his finger over the words.
Something's happening.
Suddenly the stage lights flickered and a voice boomed from the darkness. "What are you doing here?" Jonah and Avery jumped, startled. They turned to see a tall man with a stern expression standing in the wings. He was dressed in a black suit, and his hair was neatly combed back. He held a clipboard in one hand and a whistle in the other. "This is a closed rehearsal," the man said, his voice sharp. "No one is allowed backstage."
They've been caught.
Jonah's heart sank. He'd been so focused on finding the treasure that he'd forgotten all about the play. We were just looking around," he stammered. "We didn't mean any harm." "Looking around?" the man repeated, his eyebrows raised skeptically. "Why don't I believe that?" Avery stepped forward, her chin held high. "We were following clues," she said. "We found this bell." She held up the golden bell for the man to see. The man's eyes widened and his stern expression softened slightly. "Where did you find that?" he asked, his voice hushed. Avery explained about the mysterious package, the riddles and the treasure hunt that had led them to the stage.
He seems intrigued.
The man listened intently, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. When Avery finished, he nodded slowly. "I see," he said. "So you are the keepers of the Hollymere Bell." "The keepers," Jonah repeated, confused. The man smiled. "Yes, the keepers. It's an old tradition in Hollymere. Every year a new keeper is chosen to find the bell and ring it at the Christmas festival. It's said to bring good luck and joy to the town."
What a wonderful tradition.
Jonah and Avery exchanged amazed glances. They were the keepers of the Hollymere Bell. "But how did you know it was us?" Jonah asked. "The clues were meant to lead you here," the man explained. "Only those with a true Christmas spirit can solve the riddles and find the bell." He looked at Jonah and Avery with a twinkle in his eye. "You two have proven yourselves worthy. Now it is your duty to ring the bell at the festival and share its magic with the town."
What an honor.
On Christmas Eve, Jonah and Avery stood on the stage of the Hollymere Theater. The auditorium was packed with townspeople all dressed in their holiday best. The Christmas play had just ended and the air was buzzing with excitement. Jonah held the golden ball in his hands, its smooth surface warm to the touch. He took a deep breath and glanced at Avery, who smiled encouragingly. He closed his eyes and rang the bell.
I can hear it now.
The sound of the bell was clear and bright, echoing through the theater and out into the night. It was a sound of joy, a sound of hope, a sound of Christmas. As the bell's sweet melody filled the air, Jonah felt a warmth spread through him. He opened his eyes and saw that the entire auditorium was bathed in a soft golden light. People were smiling and clapping their hands, and the sound of their laughter mingled with the music. In that moment, Jonah understood what Christmas was truly about. It wasn't about presents or decorations or even treasure hunts. It was about sharing joy and kindness with those around you. It was about creating memories that would last a lifetime. And it was about believing in the magic of the season.
That's what Christmas is all about, sharing joy and kindness and believing in the magic of the season. What a beautiful story. It reminds us that the true treasures of Christmas aren't found under the tree, but in the spirit of giving and togetherness. Thanks for joining us on this journey to Hollymere. It's been a pleasure diving into the Christmas treasure hunt with you.
And from all of us here at Kringle's Christmas Stories, have a very Merry Christmas. Remember to get your Comet's Choice reindeer food at cometschoice.com.